Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? Matthew Bivens here, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Having It All. Today we are talking about balance. Yes, balance. Now that concept comes up quite often, I'd say, in the podcast. I've talked about it in number of episodes, and just, it's this idea of achieving work-life balance or achieving some balance in between the different roles that we play in life and our different responsibilities. I think it's something that we can all relate to as an aspiration to be in balance. Now, I'm not going to get into any of the philosophy, I guess, behind whether or not balance is truly achievable, because I have my opinions on that, and I'm sure you do as well. What I am going to do today is give you guys a really simple way to think about balance, in your own life. And it's a framework or a recipe or a visual, whatever you want to call it. It's just a very easy, I think, relatable and powerful way to think about this idea of balance and what being in balance in your life really looks like. Now, I want to set this up a little bit with some context. When I'm not podcasting, when I'm not behind the mic hitting record and talking, one of the other things that I do is digital marketing. I've been doing digital marketing since 2010, and currently I do digital marketing for this pretty awesome brand, company, organization called the YourDay Balance Game. I've mentioned them a few times on the podcast, and it is the YourDay Balance Game is simply put, it is a world-class game in health and fitness that is powered by love and balance. And so this balance is really what the game delivers. And there's a lot of different ways that the YourDay Balance Game has conceptualized balance, and one of them is this amazing tool, I think is the best way to put it, called the body vehicle. And so that's what I'm going to go over today, is the body vehicle. So what I want you to do is to get comfortable, wherever you are. If you're sitting, if you're in the car, if you're at work, if you're doing some chores or whatever, I want you to just get in a comfortable, peaceful place and visualize yourself as a car. All right? So imagine that you are a car and you're on the road of life. Now, your car has 5 wheels. There's a mental wheel, a spiritual wheel, a social wheel, a physical wheel, and an emotional wheel. Now, on this car, on your body vehicle, the mental wheel is the steering wheel. The spiritual and social wheels are the front 2 tires. And the physical and emotional wheels, those are the back 2 tires. So the body vehicle really represents it's a total view, it's a comprehensive view of yourself and how you experience life. So we go through life and we experience things physically and emotionally and mentally and socially and spiritually. And so again, holding this visual of the vehicle, you want to make sure that your tires are all inflated. You want to make sure that you've got air in all those different tires, because if one of the tires has some is deflated, or 2 of the tires are deflated, or if you don't even have those wheels on the car, you're going to have a rough ride, guaranteed. Your ride is going to be bumpy. You're going to feel the road. You're going to feel every little pothole. You're going to feel every little circumstance that comes your way that's in your path, because your body vehicle isn't in alignment. Your body vehicle isn't fine-tuned. It isn't fully there. And so this creates such an easy way to think about the idea of balance, because all you have to do is think about yourself in those 5 wheels and ask yourself, okay, how am I experiencing myself right now? Or do I have, a spiritual wheel on my car? Do I have a mental wheel? Do I have a social wheel? Do I have a physical wheel? Do I have an emotional wheel? How inflated are those wheels? Right? So for me, for many years, I don't think I had any real spiritual wheel on my car. I grew up in a Catholic household, and as soon as I was able to ditch that and go the other direction, I did. And so for many years, I wouldn't consider myself spiritual at all. And it wasn't until a number of years ago, when I was in my 20s, that I just started to gravitate towards more spiritual teachings and really start to expose myself to different things and start to learn and to read and absorb. And now I have a spiritual wheel on my car, on my body vehicle. But for years, I was bumping and grinding my way through life, having challenges relating to different circumstances and relating to different experiences, having challenges making sense of things that were happening in my life and things I was seeing and things I was feeling, because I lacked that spiritual wheel. Now for you, it might be a different wheel that is deflated or not on your car. All right, maybe you're an ace in the spiritual wheel. Maybe you're just off the chart spiritually and mentally, but emotionally, your tires are deflated. Your emotional tire is very deflated. Or maybe you're a rock star in the social. You're that social butterfly. You can talk to anyone, you can connect with anyone, but your physical wheel is flat. You have been neglecting your health, and that wheel is totally kaput. So that when you're driving through life, when you're going from social engagement to social engagement, it's hard. It's a challenge to get around, because that physical tire is just deflated, and you've got to really, the other tires have to work overtime to make up. Every one of us is going to be different. And I think that this idea of work-life balance it's too limited. Speaking for myself, I am not simply work and life. That to me, that's putting way too much importance on work, to put it right there next to life, even before life. So the body vehicle gives us a really simple yet powerful way to think about balance. We can simply ask ourselves, okay, what tires are deflated, right? What tires are missing? And then once we kind of do that self-evaluation, you can then say, okay, what do I need to do to put some more air back in those tires? Right? And one I think very important aspect of this, especially when you get into that reflection, is to just drop the judgment. Drop the judgment, right? Like we can be so critical on ourselves. We can be our own biggest critics. I know I have been that way for years, and I'm still learning how to reprogram myself to not be so critical about myself. But it's especially important when we're thinking about, okay, honestly, what is my mental tire like? What's the air like in my mental tire? Where are the levels? It's like, wow, I don't think I exercise my mind very often. I can't remember the last book I read. I can't remember the last mentally challenging thing I did, and watching TV and browsing the internet don't count, right? So it's important that when you are thinking about balance for yourself, you drop that judgment and you just look at simply what is. Simply what is. Allow yourself to be transparent with yourself. Allow yourself to be vulnerable with yourself, and have the courage to actually look at those things in your life, because that's the first step to actually making a change, to making a shift. Right? Like, you have to know what you're dealing with in order to then shift things to create the ideal situation or the ideal experience that you want in your life. So when you're thinking about your body vehicle, one thing to keep in mind, those back two tires, physical and emotional, they're connected. There's an axle that connects the physical tire and the emotional tire. When one is feeling inflated, the other one typically goes up as well. And when one goes down, the other one goes down. There's this very simple expression that all of us have heard called a runner's high, right? Emotionally, we can experience euphoria when we're in that that place of exercising our bodies. But the opposite also happens. When that physical wheel starts to go down, that emotional wheel goes down with it. It's really fascinating how those two are connected. And I'm sure that if you do a little bit of self-reflecting, you can see how in your life, your physical and emotional have been connected. So if you're riding through life right now with an emotional wheel that's very low, look at the physical and see how you can bring those two back into balance, and vice versa. So the body vehicle is simply a template that you can use to look at balance in your own life. There are many different templates or frameworks or formulas, whatever you want to call them. There's many different out there. No one is better than the other. It's really about what works for you. For me, I have found a lot of value out of the body vehicle because it really simplifies things for me, especially when I think of my life in terms of the car and me being on the road of life. And I can think about, well, what is my ride like? Has my ride been bumpy lately? Has my ride been off? Am I just totally off on alignment and everything kind of curves to the left? Or am I riding smooth? Am I riding powerfully? Am I riding comfortably through life? Because all of my tires, all of my wheels are inflated. And you can be overinflated. Absolutely. You could be way overinflated in the mental and have completely deflated tires everywhere else. You can be way overflated in the physical. You know, the person who's just lives at the gym. You just have to exercise every single day. You have to do this. You got to count all your carbs. You got to make sure that you know the calories of the water before you put it in your mouth. Like there's those folks as well, just super overinflated in the physical. And then the other areas don't get as much attention and energy. And those other areas end up being challenged as a result. So it's important to understand that you can be overinflated and underinflated, and you can even have no tire at all. So if you've been experiencing life feeling like you're out of balance, if you've been like what I like to call an IOU, imbalanced, overstressed, uninspired, if any of those three things describe you, then the body vehicle is a great way for you to assess where you're at so that you can begin making some shifts to experience something a little bit different, experience a little bit more balance in your life, experience a little bit more flow. So I have a couple more of these templates that I'm going to share with you, and they'll be coming in the, I don't know if I'm going to do it in the next 2 episodes or space it out a little bit, but there's 3 total that I want to share with you, and this is the first. Now, if you are wanting to take the next step and actually do a self-assessment and really kind of give yourself a grade and a number, then I have a cool thing that you can use. It's totally free, 100% free. It's called the Abundance Benchmark, and it's a tool that I put together to help you assess yourself across many different dimensions. The body vehicle dimensions are included in there, but I've also added a few others as well that you can grade yourself on. So again, if you like that data, if you like having that feedback about yourself, and really if you're just bold enough to do that, because it does take a certain sense of guts or a certain amount of guts to give yourself a grade, right? Because the numbers don't lie. If you're that type of person and you want to go there, then hop over to my website, MatthewBivens.com, and you can get yourself the Abundance Benchmark. It's right there on the homepage. So MatthewBivens.com, scroll to the bottom, and you can download the Abundance Benchmark. And I'll also put a link to that in the show notes on this episode. And just like every single episode of the Having It All podcast, they all live over on FiresideNetwork.com. So just shoot over there to FiresideNetwork.com, click on the show, Having It All, and you will find this episode and the notes and all other episodes as well. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you, and I hope that you got something powerful and useful, a new way for you to think about balance in your life. Because if you're like me, it's something that comes up probably pretty frequently, weekly, maybe daily for some. And I hope this framework of the body vehicle can help you create and experience more balance in your life. So with that, my name is Matthew Bivens, and here is to you having it all.